Okay, so let's get started. I mean, you can do a quick introduction. I think a lot of people know who you are, but go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I can just say it. I'm Ambi. Most people probably know me as a content creator, but like I also play the game. So um, yeah, melee person in general.
Cool. And so you play Fox, and you want to go over. Did you send me the VOD already?
Yeah, it's in our
Oh, you
DMs. You
sent
can
me the
probably
zip
scroll up.
file. There we go. All right, and which one do you want to start on, or do you want me
Yeah,
to read
so
the notes in general first?
I can just talk about it. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
Um,
Which one do you want me to start on?
so I have like two folders in the
Matchup
zip.
I'm really bad at, or matchup I'm not as bad at, but still couldn't make things happen. Which one?
Yeah, that's already the bad at.
Okay.
But I think just to, like give some context or whatever for why I separated it into these two.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is like I don't this is just like sort of like the way that it works with my like internal model of the game and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it's not necessarily matchup stuff. Like it might be. Like I might just be bad, right? Um, but I think with both of these matchups, I struggle a little bit with making my opponent feel like threatened by me in any way.
Mm-hmm.
So like versus Falco, like most of my counterplay is versus laser, right? Like if they laser in place, or if they laser forward, or if they laser then aerial, like I have all of these answers to laser.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and versus this guy, like this is just like a bunch of friendlies I played with a guy in Melee Online, and he just stopped shooting lasers against me, and then I was just completely confused and helpless. So
Okay.
I was like, yeah. So he was just very not afraid of anything I was doing, and I was like, oh, this is like kind of a problem. I think there's probably something like very missing in my play, and it's sort of like that for Marth also, where like I feel
Mm-hmm.
like very comfortable in the matchup versus Marth,
Mm-hmm.
but when I play better players, they just don't do the things I'm trying to bait, which makes me think there's something wrong with my baiting. Like maybe I'm giving them too much space, or I'm just being too transparent or something.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay. My guess is that you're probably playing too much for safety, but we'll see.
okay,
Oh, and let me Discord screen share you. All right. So let's see. So you open up. This happens. Okay, he gives you a free opening. That's nice. Okay, that's good. So far, everything is perfect. Okay. So far, I actually haven't seen anything that's bad. Okay, that was a good stock. Okay, I mean, are you sure you didn't just send me a game where you play well the whole time?
no, I actually lose this game. So
Okay.
you just
Because so far, you've been playing everything pretty correct. There's not anything that's super, super wrong so far.
yeah, I think second half of this game is like where things start to get kind of bad. Like he does that laser and it's like super telegraphed he's gonna do an aerial after it. And like this
Mm
is like where like my mental model feels like it's working, like all my like
hmm. Mm
studying has been
hmm.
good.
Yeah,
And
that
then
makes
like I
sense.
start losing it, which is like why this was like a very confusing game for me.
Okay.
Uh
So, yeah, so you mess up your recovery. That's fine. Okay, that was fine. Probably tried to dash attack or something.
yeah, definitely.
Huh.
Like from my perspective, like I'm playing my game plan really, really effectively in this game, and I'm like
Yeah.
losing.
Okay, so... I need to watch this game again. This was a very odd game. So... Alright, let's see. So let's see. You convert off this first opening really well. This is like perfect. You get a bunch of damage. That's really good. Okay, you go for the corner there, which is fine. You're dodging the lasers. You're pressuring him coming up and down from the platform, which is fine. This is okay pressure. I think that a lot of times pressuring Falco from the platform here isn't actually that good. Because he can do like a high laser and then roll afterward, and it's very difficult for you to get down on him. I think probably pressuring from here is a better choice. But that's pretty small. Yeah, and so like up to this point, this is pretty much exactly what you would want. And then, okay, all this is totally fine. You missed this. Okay, and you avoid the combo there really well. You get this follow-up. That's fine. All of this so far is fine. So what happens? Where does it go wrong? Okay, you get up-tilted. You make it back. Okay, everything is still fine. You get caught by the side B, which is a pretty small thing. It seems like your ledge dashes are pretty shaky. I think
they were pretty... They were like on and off by the day. I don't think I played particularly well with my ledge dashing this particular session, so...
Okay. So this is kind of where things start to go bad, I think. So everything is fine. You're both at low percent. Okay, you get that shine. That was really good. Okay, you missed that. That's fine. Okay. So far, this is still great. Up till this point, it's great. You got out of the combo. How in the world did you lose this?
Yeah, this is like every Falco game I lose. Like, even, like, against random people. It just feels like I'm doing this, like, beautiful game plan the entire game and then, like, randomly lose. So, it's definitely, like, I think a problem with my mental model somewhere, but I don't really know where.
So, yeah. So, on this one, you get hit here. Let's see what happens. So, you get forward smashed at 37. So, this was just kind of, like, normally this wouldn't be a big deal, but, like, the fact that you lost this game, like, you got forward smashed at 37, and then you died for it, which will happen from time to time. Like, you can just imagine, I guess, that Falco hits this mix-up or something, and you die. So, it's kind of something that's not good, but, like, let's just pretend he hits the mix-up. So, you die. You come back. You're at 0 to 68. Okay, you're trying to play careful, which is good. You get that. You get clipped.
I think my edge guarding is a little shaky in this matchup. I'm not sure if it's, like, a timing thing. I drop a bunch of them in this game.
Okay, so then everything is going pretty according to plan here. Okay, you miss attack, you get edge guarded, you make it back still. Okay, that jumping into laser is pretty big. He's gotten that multiple times on you now. You gotta watch out for that. But then he just hits you here. This is a very difficult game to analyze. This is really interesting.
Yeah, I've been kind of stuck versus Falco for a really long time because, like...
Because it looks fine.
Yeah.
It looks fine, but then you lost.
The other game I sent you looks a little bit less fun, but, like, the fact that this looked so effectively planned was really weird for me.
This is the rare game where I think it doesn't actually tell us a lot. I'm going to go to the next one.
Okay, I can dig it.
Because what kind of happened here is, like, you were playing well and you were hitting the mix-ups, but then he would just kind of hit you randomly and you would, like, work together with him to make that convert to a stock. Like, it was kind of just, like, you did, like, a weird angle and you lost your one stock early, and then you double jump down aired, which I super disagree with a lot of times for, like, the recovery, rather than going for something safer that, like, gets you, like, air dodging the platform gives you your double jump back, gives you a lot more options. And so you just kind of, like, died out of, like, a bunch of things that, like, wouldn't normally kill. So, like, in a game like that, I would more say that those games just happen. Like, so that's
Okay.
why I would more I want to see what happens on this one.
This one I play less to my game plan, but
Okay.
it was still like confusing for me.
Okay, so good convert. Okay, so this doesn't make sense. Right here, you have him in the corner. He has to be afraid of you here.
Mm-hmm.
Because think about it, if let's say you're afraid maybe of like laser into instant down air, you know? Then like you could beat that with like a shield. So he would kind of be pressured here to go for like if he's gonna beat your shield here, he has to do laser into short hop late down air. So you actually have really good pressure opportunities here when he's in the corner, and you don't want to give this up by doing this. Like, he got this for free by shooting like 2 lasers.
Mm-hmm.
He got from here, which is really bad for him, to here with no effort. You don't really want to do that. Mm-hmm. Alright, let's see. What else happens? Okay, so you're zoning him out. You've gotten hit by side B like 3 times so far.
Yeah.
That's got to be really careful of that. Okay. Get the shark. Get that. Back air. Everything's looking good.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. Like, everything is looking pretty solid. It's... Let's see what happens.
Like, I get into this ridiculous situation here, which is... like, right here.
Okay. So one thing that I would recommend is that when you're in a situation like this, feel free here. It's much better to full hop up like this, because to defend against you full hopping kind of up like this, not at an angle where he can easily jump shine it, but kind of right here in front of him, he has to deal with this normally with a laser, and that will temporarily force him to be stuck in the corner. So you can kind of take space with the full hop to get here, and he's kind of stuck in the corner, and then you have like that corner pressure situation.
Gotcha.
So that's like a possible way to break this. Or you can do another thing where you double jump up to top plat and wave land off and drift right here, and he has to kind of cover that in a similar way. He can't really press out of the corner quite as easily against that. So he doesn't really have like a good dash dance stalemate against Fox. Okay. You just hit everything, and then you're like, I lose. Like, what? Makes no sense. Okay, so something small here. Well, maybe not something small, but it looks like you kind of aren't looking... You're looking for an opening, and you want to look for, like, the opening. Like, you want to look for an opening that'll give you, like, really good pressure on Falco, or, like, a combo. And so he's at 0 right here. These nairs aren't good. Like, he's at 0. You have to be focusing on the drills, the grabs, or some lasers at this percent. Because try to get him just out of like that little zone. Because now that he's at this percent, suddenly his options are not quite as good. The nair still isn't good. But at 0, it's very easy for something to go slightly wrong and get CC'd. So you just want to give him like a little bit of damage when he's at 0, rather than going for those nairs. So maybe being more focused on getting... Like, I don't see a lot of drills out of you. That's one thing. That's one thing that's a little bit lacking. Is there aren't a lot of drills. And look, here's another spot where he's in the corner, and you just sort of give it up. Like that. And you go back to here. But he's already in the corner. There's no reason to do that. Okay, he comes at you. You do this. Okay, he gives you ledge. You miss another ledge dash. The thing is you don't make that many mistakes, but every mistake you make is like a stock losing mistake. You're like, well, I only make mistakes when I miss ledge dash, and I miss my recoveries, and I get hit by Falco's side B. And it's like, well, yeah, that's 3 stocks out of a game, you know? Like, that's... Doesn't matter how effective you're being. Yeah, you need to be drilling more. Drill. That's really important.
Okay, I also wanted to bring this up, because this comes up again later. Me jumping off the platform earlier, and then getting up tilt. I feel like the way that I do this is kind of telegraphed. I hit it once in game 1. And
okay, yeah, point it out when it comes up, or did it just happen?
Yeah, we passed the first one, and then it'll come up again,
okay.
Which is kind of tilting. This was really stupid.
Yeah, it happens. These are the weirdest games to analyze.
Yeah, right
Because
here.
the thing is, most of the time people lose. Oh, did it just happen?
Yeah, yeah. Like his last opening here was off of the same thing he got the last time. Like I don't really know how
Oh,
to
this up
like
tilt?
threaten people.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. You just have to avoid this up tilt. Like it's not that hard to avoid it. You can literally just like jump all the way over him, like dash short hop to here, and he's kind of in a bad spot, or full hop right here, and he'll. It's like you can't approach into it. There's not like an easy way to directly beat it, but you can not get hit by it. Like this is something that Falcos will do a lot, but it doesn't really like it doesn't force anything. Like it doesn't force anything from you. He's simply doing it, and so you have a lot of options here on how you want to play it. Like you can full hop here, you can short hop over him, and then do a later aerial because you're starting this drill really early. And there's not really a reason to start it this early. So like if you short hopped up here and you hadn't started your drill yet and you see him up tilting, you can double jump away to the platform. You can wave land off the platform here. You can shield drop here. You can delay it for a little bit, like right here, and then dash dance it, and then he up tilts and you run off and drill him or whatever. So it's kind of like, and his only option, like all he has there is he's up tilting. So he declares his up tilt, but that doesn't force anything from you. So he's basically giving you control to enter into any type of neutral situation you want. And the only thing this beats is you coming in predictably with like a short hop area.
Gotcha. Okay. I should probably just mix up more then, I think.
Yeah, because it doesn't actually like do like it doesn't force.
I never see people get hit by that except for me, so it's like very confusing.
So I think after watching these, it's really interesting. It's like when you get hits, everything is kind of normal, but when you get hit, it's like catastrophic. Like you get hit with anything, and like there's no endurance. Like there's no, and I think so I think being confident with ledge dashes is like a really big one, because like every single time you've been in that situation, it's bad. Like covering his side B to make sure, like it's better to protect yourself against Falco's side B than like hit him more often. Like. Another one is that it's just there's not like is this somebody you play against a lot?
No, I've played them once. I did play like a bunch of games with this guy though, so maybe this was like a bunch of reads. I just picked like a couple particularly confusing ones after he stopped lasering me. I could pick him another Falco game if that one would help.
It kind of is like you're doing a lot of the basics right, but at no point was there like a chance of things like you kind of like get ahead and then you lose a mix-up and you fall behind, and then you get ahead and you lose a mix-up and you fall behind, and so it's a very difficult to diagnose issue. I think you could be baiting more. I think if that's coming up, like playing a bit more defensive and like solid and like because basically it's kind of like there's not like there's kind of an established neutral going on here where you play according to like your game plan and they play according to their game plan, but it seems like within the established neutral you literally win about 50% of the neutral interactions. So anytime that happens, it's going to be very like you're not necessarily doing anything wrong, but you're not like gaining a big advantage. And it doesn't feel like you're looking for a big advantage either. Like at low percents when you're kind of going for those nairs and stuff like that, there's kind of like a commitment to like playing out like a full stock, whereas like if Falco is at low percent, he should be very afraid of one whiff or one mistake and then you instantly punish with like a drill into like a big punish or something like that. So like I don't feel like the potential of like it snowballing. I think I'm getting a better idea. I think what you have as your game plan. So this is unusual because most of the time when I give lessons to people, their issue is that they don't have a coherent enough game plan. Your game plan is very coherent, but because you leave out essential mix-ups like the full hop drill and wave landing off plat to bait out the up tilt and dash dance and then full hop over him, or like it basically you play to simple positions consistently where like you can keep your options simple to allow yourself to play according to your game plan better. But by doing that, you simplify the game for your opponent. So it's kind of like if you and your opponent both agree on a 50-50, then you will win that 50% of the time and lose 50% of the time. And that's kind of like what looks like what's happening is you're like, look, I'm going to nair in, and if you up tilt this nair, then you win. And if you don't up tilt your nair, the nair, then I win. And so you're kind of setting up this established situation that doesn't give you an advantage. But you want to play more. So like the more options you mix up into your play, there weren't any like dash dance grabs on his up tilts, or there weren't when you're doing the recovery, or sorry, the edge guarding, it looks like you sort of follow like a pretty simple flowchart, but it's like you have to make it so that your opponent doesn't know like what set of mix-ups to expect. And if you can bait them into expecting, like, let's say, like, the short hop nair off the platform mix-up, then you can potentially open up other avenues where you can gain more of an advantage. Such as, like, the dash dance grab, the full hop drill grab, the moving around on the platforms and then dropping, like, an up air if they like, whiff an up tilt. And I didn't see really any like shield drop attacks from you really, so it's kind of like your game plan is solid for what it is, and I think that's good, but I think that like you need to add significantly more options to the game plan so that it's not so straightforward. Like it feels like you're basically like you made like a machine in your brain that can play this matchup, but then that sort of can be blinding to like what exists outside of the machine. So that's the biggest thing. So let's go through this match again pretty quickly. Let's see what happens here. Okay, so this is fine. Let's go back. The arrow's all messed up. Okay. So, okay, let's see. So you go for the dash dance grab, but it was on like a weird whiff punish. I wouldn't recommend going for that there, because many Falcos will open with short hop off platform laser. Your opening should be very center oriented.
Okay.
And if you give them center, that's fine. Just go to top plat, and then you basically can play from top plat too. But like it should. Oh, there we go. So you got the wave dash off the platform into the downers. That was good. So you do that. I'm just kind of recording all the things you do. So you shine here. You got that opening. This is your punish. This is irrelevant. Okay, so you gave up the space there. And the other thing is that like when you're in a situation where you have an advantageous mix-up, like the corner, where like your moves are more effective than they normally would be, it seems like you often give it up to go back to the comfortable kind of even neutral you're in. But it's like the goal is not to fight Falco or any character on even ground. You don't want to fight them in like, by even ground I mean like even position, not about the actual ground you're on. So it's kind of like you don't want to fight in even positions. Your goal is to get your opponent into positions that you have advantageous probability on your mix-ups. So it's like if they're in a spot that's kind of even, like if they're in this spot like right here at the very beginning, this is, oh, come on, right here. Okay, so it starts off, you drop, which is fine, and then you kind of just dash dance here. You're basically saying like, look, Falco, you come down, we'll be in even positions, and then we can play the game. But you should be consistently looking for advantageous spots. You go, oh, maybe I go here, and then if he drops, I kind of have this drop on him, or I go right here, because then if he jumps off the platform, he might have to worry about my dash back, and if he jumps off the platform and lasers, maybe I'll push forward even more, and then he'll be in an awkward spot. But from this spot, you're basically saying like, okay, Falco, as soon as you decide to come down off the platform with a laser and take center, then we'll start. And there's no reason to do that because that doesn't put you in a good spot. That only puts you in like an even or worse spot. So you go for this grab, but this grab once again is like you're going for this grab in a situation where like Falco has the control, like Falco has the options here. He doesn't need to down air. So there's no reason for you to just guess that he's going to down air when he could have lasered and then gotten like a punish here. You don't want to interact here because you don't have an advantage. You're 50-50ing the down air and the laser, and you don't need to. So now you're kind of working around him. You get this is good. You're playing neutral here, this is good. Okay, so you get this punish. You miss the edge guard. You're here. You give up your advantageous position. Let's see, where do you fight him? Okay, so you can't. This is just like you can't let him get you with these. Like when he jumps up like this, just like if Falco jumps up here and he has momentum this way, it's better to just take center because he's like take like right here because he can't fade back and hit you, and then otherwise he has to like do something with the platforms, and it's basically like don't feel pressured to fight in a situation that you don't need to fight in. It's okay to avoid fighting until you have a spot that you're comfortable fighting in.
Gotcha.
Okay, so this was all good. It's all solid. Okay, I think that was okay. It's fine to do this here. I much prefer going to the side plat here because from this position,
I definitely tried. I think I missed the waveland onto it.
Okay, yeah, because from this position, Falco has lasers and aerials and stuff down here. But if you're up here, his only read on you is full hop back air to cover your jump here. So you can just kind of sit here and chill out for a second and look for an opportunity to maybe he commits and you whiff punish, or he doesn't commit and you're kind of, oh, am I gonna go? Am I gonna go? And then he just kind of takes center and you jump up to top plat. So like when you're doing this, it's okay, but it is kind of like a risk.
Gotcha.
And then something like this dash attack doesn't do a lot, but you're also like you've agreed to interact. Like Falco can't really interact with Fox's full hop until he comes down out of it. So you can actually create like pretty good uninteractable spaces, like what you're doing now. This is good because you're basically saying like right here. You're basically like, okay, if you come in on me with a dumb down air, I'm about to punish. And if you don't, I'm still in a completely valid neutral position. Still in a completely valid neutral position here. But then when this happens, so like when you're here and he has whiffed this up tilt, what you want to do is continue to create, like by full hopping over him right here, continue to like apply this passive pressure where you're not really in an easy to hit spot. But so like basically you were playing this zone correctly where you're like, look, I'm not really interacting. I'm kind of looking for a good position. But then you came down to this side here. So look, you're like here and you're like, look, I'm going to do this sort of passive pressure where if you approach, I hit you. You didn't fall for it, so I'm going to get out of the way. And now you're like, oh, look, maybe I'll come down again. And like maybe, he has to expect like shield drop down air here or something, which is why he's up tilting. So now you get here, but you basically played it right where you're avoiding him this whole time. And now, after those 3 seconds or so of actually playing, you go, okay, I'm down to actually fight right here. Because you can, if you had full hopped away here, or even full hopped here again, you're forcing him to do a big read to hit you. But he doesn't necessarily have to do anything in this spot that would threaten you, and you're for sure threatened. Like, let's say he dashes in, you're probably going to move back, and then he'll just laser here, and now you're in this awful situation in the corner where you got lasered, and you can just full hop out and get out to here again, but I don't think that's what you do. You dash dance, and so it doesn't matter that this dash attack was useless here. It could have been anything.
Right.
So you avoided playing in a bad situation, and then you kind of put yourself into the corner, and you said, okay, now we can fight. And yeah, like I already said before, you can passively pressure this with a full hop. And then, what do you get hit out of here? He just jabs you, and then gets a shine. Okay, fine. That's whatever. I can't expect you to be prepared for that every time. And then he gets the edge guard. This Falco seems fairly proficient at edge guarding. Okay, so you come back with invincibility, and you get the quick stock. This is Fox's scariest thing against Falco. He just comes back with invincibility, gets the clean stock. And then this. So you have a stock lead. You're both at 0. There's no reason to... Like, there's no reason to fight this out. Like, he's coming down with a laser right here. You can pressure this afterward with nairs. Or you can do passive pressure with the full hop. But what you can't do is just dash dance. Because, like... So this is a bit more subtle, but if you do this dash dance, dash in, this is really, really good against every character except Falco.
Okay.
Against Falco, you almost always want to start with a dash in, and then because that so basically when you dash in on Falco, you force him to protect himself from your approach. And he could just throw out a move in place or something, but then if you mix it up, you're getting him. But if you do the dash back here at all, like if this is your first movement, you give up everything. Because, one sec. If this is your first movement, you give up everything. Because if he downers in place here, you're already too late to get to him. If he approaching downers, you're actually coming back in to the down air. And if he does the laser, assuming your dash back, then you not only dash back, or like you waste time dashing back, and then you dash in right into the laser. And so like you don't actually, it's not a good idea to do that. What's really good is dash in, and then either short hop or full hop here. Or dash in, dash back to maybe bait the laser up tilt. But doing the dash back first, all that does is give Falco... He doesn't have to be afraid of the instant rising short hop to beat his laser. And so he basically wins all the mix-ups in this spot, and you could have easily lost your stock there. And then you just kind of give up on your neutral here after this. So you get hit here, and you're kind of like, oh no, I got hit. Like, I guess I need to make up for the damage. And so you do this same thing again. And so there was no reason to try to force an interaction here. Everything was fine. You're up a stock. Everything is good. You can just... Falco can't hit you from this range if you're right here. He can't do anything to you. And if he tries to approaching laser, you can do the full hop and passive pressure. You could, if he approaching lasers, you could down tilt here. You can full hop up to right here, which I think is what you do. But if you full hop here, notice that this is passive pressure on Falco. He has to deal with your full hop. He has to deal with it somehow, or else this will hit. But you can't just do this and expect it to hit, because this is basically like, you're not stacking the odds in your favor. Always try to stack the odds in a way that you get, like, you want to have good odds in your favor all the time. You don't want to play like a fair game with your opponent, ever. The goal should always be, so when you're going for this, you're creating a situation where, like, look, so you did dash back, and so the only way for you to reach him after that dash back is to dash back in, which he can react to with an easy laser, or to dash back, dash in full hop. And I do think that this full hop is good if you land here. If you do this full hop and you land here, you've now taken center and you've put passive pressure on the Falco. So oftentimes he'll be forced to do something. And if you see him setting up for the laser on your landing here, you can just double jump away. And then he's in the corner. You have top plat. You have like a nice diagonal here to kind of pressure him or go straight down. Things kind of work out for you. But you're basically giving up on neutral and going for this. And there's no big surprise that Falco does this back air because you full hop from over here. You dash back, you full hopped in. He has to protect himself from your full hop attack somehow. And so this is his answer, and this is his answer to what you told him about is what works. And you don't want that. You tell him you're full hopping in. He has to protect himself from it unless he's extremely sure that you're playing ultra safe, which normally he won't be. So he has to protect himself. You don't ever want to follow through on things you tell your opponent. You say, hey, I'm going to do this. And they go, no, you aren't. And then you're doing something completely different that sets up an advantage. But if you say, hey, I'm going to jump in on you, and then you actually do jump in, sometimes you might get a random confusing opening, but 95% of the time, they're going to be ready to block that.
Okay.
So he goes for that, and he goes for kind of a cheesy forward smash. You once again look at this. What does this do? He's at 0. You're giving up everything. You're not looking for a good position. You're just looking for the hit. But it's like, before you fight, find a good position to fight in, then fight. Don't just fight. Because neutral game is less about, like, it's less about trying to just do a mix-up and hit your opponent with, like, oh, he thinks I'm going to do 3 dash dances, but this time I did 2. Like, yes, that is part of it. But the majority of it is to confuse your opponent about your intention. So, I don't know if you play any chess. Do you?
I used to play in tournaments. Actually.
Okay, yeah. For some reason, I thought you had. So it's basically like you're setting up for this very obvious checkmate in like 4 moves, and then your opponent is clearly going to defend against said checkmate. Like if you just you start lining up all of your pieces to attack this one way, your opponent's position will start also changing to defend this attack. And so what you can do is you can tell them, this is my attack, and you force them to prepare for that attack, but you're actually plotting something different. And if you go for the thing you told them that you're plotting, most of the time they're going to be prepared to defend it if they're good enough.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of what you're doing here, is like you're kind of just like, oh, here I come, and he's like, okay, and it's like you don't want that. What you want is to use this neutral position you have on this stage. There's no pressure for you to go in. Yes, this does hit approaching laser from here, but if he doesn't approaching laser, that's not good. What you want to do is say, look, I'm either passive approaching with the full hop, I'm super actively approaching with a run-in, make Falco do something to adapt to what you're doing, and then play around a different situation. So like you're like, I'm gonna run in, and he's like, I'm gonna turn around. So you see him turn around, and you go, maybe I can bait the up tilt. So you kind of do this little poke in. Look, I'm going in, Falco. And he goes, no, you're not. And he does this poke, and then you go, aha, and then you full hop right here. And then he has this awkward spot after the up tilt where it's like, is he going to try to shield? You can kind of drift your drill around his shield. He feels kind of awkward. Maybe he rolls. Then after he rolls, you're frame positive, so you run in, and he goes, now I have to watch out for the instant nair. And so then he has to deal with that again. And so, like, you want those situations where, like, you don't have just, like, pure neutral, no commitment, I really hope Falco does this thing here.
Okay.
So look, once again, you tell him, I'm coming in, right here. Right here, you're like, I'm coming in. Oh, this is the first one. So then you look, I'm coming in, and he goes, okay, and he beats it with the up tilt. So you were too honest. You told him what you were going to do, and then you did it.
Okay. And I think that this is probably the same issue I have with Marth right now. It's just that it works better against Marth players. So it makes sense, yeah.
Part of the issue is also that you inherently are telling him that you're coming in. Because, like, yeah, maybe when you're dash dancing, this isn't, like, necessarily a reactable jump in. But how many times have you acted like you were going to come in, gotten close to him, and then full hopped over? Like, none. So in his mind, like, the number, it's like he doesn't have to expect you to say words that you don't usually say. So if there's kind of words that you start saying over and over, then and you're like, I'm going to say this word. And he goes, okay. There hasn't been like a time where you've like mixed in those other things. So like just by literally mixing in those other things, you inherently make it trickier for your opponent to know what you're going to do. And what you want is for you to say, look, I'm coming in with X. And if your opponent defends against X, they're playing into your plan, which will put you in a better position. You don't necessarily always want to instantly end it. You don't want to say, look, I'm coming for X. And then they say, okay. And then you go, aha, I did Y and I beat you. That works sometimes, but you don't always need to do that. A lot of times you say, look, I'm going to go for X. And they say, okay, I'm countering X. And you say, okay, good job countering X, but now I'm in this position. And if I go for X again here, you have to counter it again. And they go, okay, I'll counter X again. And you go, right, but it's different now, because now I'm in a place where I can punish you for trying to counter X.
Gotcha.
Let's see, how far through? I want to make sure to get to the Marth stuff. 4:47. Okay, we have 20 minutes left, so
that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Marth games are less important because I do feel a lot more comfortable with that matchup. I just think it's kind of similar. Yeah,
once again, you're going for this. Notice how early you commit to the aerial. always commit as late as possible to anything. When you go for this wouldn't have even hit approaching laser,
Yeah.
you know, or half approaching laser. There's no reason to force an interaction here. He's all the way over here. You can get closer to him before an interaction is forced. So this is just that same concept, even more egregious actually. Because let's say you do the same jump arc where you land right here, but you didn't throw out anything, and then he goes for this laser. Then you double jump to the platform and wave land off, and now he just landed. He can't get another laser out on your approach because you know he just tried the laser. Now you're up here, you're coming down. Oh, I don't have time for another laser.
Right.
So maybe I should up tilt, and then you wave land off, and you like drift back. His up tilt misses, and then you have a punish. You know. So it's kind of you have to kind of like judo your opponent into a bad position for them. Like kind of wrestle them into that spot, and then once you have them there, then you fight. You say, okay, I'm ready to play the game now. And they go, I don't want to play the game anymore. So yeah, that's the same. Those nairs off the platform are the same thing, where you can make him think you're going to do that and then not do it. And simply by including more mix-ups in your play, he won't be able to do that as often.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So, he gets the kill. This is kind of, once again, you're kind of just like, let's fight. And it's like, oh. It's like, do we really want to fight with our full hop right here? You know? This is more where we want to get here so that Falco, when he lands, he has to deal with potential mix-up. Like, that's what you want. You want potential threats. You don't always want your threats to manifest because that lets them protect themselves against them. Like he did there. Okay, so you get this. The double mistake into sick combo. Gotta love when those happen. Okay, so I guarantee you, when you lose this match by fighting in a position you shouldn't have, or by recovering badly. Oh. Yeah, once again, you're fighting in a bad spot. Yeah, it's repeating, so. And at this point, now that we kind of understand the issues, I think we could probably go back to the first match. I don't know. Do you want to go to the Marth matches or go back to the first matches?
We could look at the Falco games quick. Just like a quick pass through, I guess.
The first one?
Yeah.
Okay, let's because now I think through this lens, this game might make more sense. Sometimes it takes a second, because your play is fairly balanced, like in your game plan itself, so that's really good. You don't have any like big imbalances, but I think that like it's just sort of like a level of abstraction on like playing the game in general that you can work on.
Yeah, that's what it felt like, so I'm glad that this is manifesting.
Okay, yeah, so there's this. Let's see. Okay, you're fighting in a good position here. This was okay. This was fine. It's strictly because, yeah, you kind of just dominate the first couple stocks, so then after that we'll see exactly what happens. Like I said, it's better to pressure Falco from down here.
Mm-hmm.
This is a really good spot against almost every character in the game, but not Falco.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. What positions are you down to play in? So this was good because you baited him out. This was kind of like the same interaction as the other game, except you didn't get impatient. And it's probably because Battlefield is a lot bigger than Yoshi's. So maybe you felt more threatened on Yoshi's, and then that was the problem. Because you're kind of doing like the correct baiting thing here. This is just like, this can happen. It's not maybe like optimal neutral, but it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is okay. I still would really like to see the full hop mix-ups. Like the full hop kind of directly onto Falco.
Mm-hmm. With drift.
Yeah, and you're just kind of baiting him out here. Yeah, and then he's just doing these double up tilt. This is something you got to be really wary of, is like, if he's going to do an up tilt, he's down to do it again most of the time. Right. So this is the thing I was talking about, where like, let's say you run in here. This run in, that he will react to this. Like, let's see, how many frames do you have to react to this? He might not even be reacting. He might literally be reading it. So he does this. What does he see? He sees this. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is like his reaction point right here. And he reacts exactly right there. So that's exactly like human reaction time pretty much. So basically you tell him that you're going to come in, and then you do. This is a situation when Falco has his back turned to you like this. Almost never jump unless you're going to full hop.
I see.
Because
Okay.
you need the ability here to dash in and say, hey, Falco, here I come, and then dash back, dash in. Because at this range, he can't get a laser out safely. You're kind of, by doing this short hop in Nair, or whatever you do, I think you do a Nair, you're kind of relying on Falco, and a lot of bad Falcos do this, so I understand. You're relying on Falco to think he has enough time to get a laser out. Because what happens here is they think there's enough time to get a laser out, they short hop laser, the Nair hits them, double shine, dead. That's kind of like what you're hoping for here. That's kind of like the best option in these situations. Because otherwise, think about it, if he doesn't jump and laser into this, short hop back air beats this, holding down in general just beats it, he'll just slide the ledge. It's not going to get you a lot. So by doing the dash in and then doing a dash back dash in really quick, it's basically like dodging a chic forward tilt. Oh, one second, the heat is on. I gotta close my window.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so it's basically like dodging a chic forward tilt, and you have to maintain your grounded position here so that you can bait this out. Because this up tilt, like if you look at this from the Falco perspective, this up tilt is basically like he's got to do this. You know, he can either do this, or he can short hop back here in place, or he can shield and then roll, or he can like psychotic full hop out of the corner. But even then, sometimes this Nair will clip him. So most of the time, they're going to go for a grounded option. And so you basically forced this option out of him and then fell for it.
Yeah.
And
okay,
so it's like,
sense.
yeah, if you're forcing this option, you want to be able to position yourself to then whiff punish it. Okay, so here. Obviously, just throw out an aerial here. Okay. Okay, I'm not gonna go into that one too much. Okay. Yeah, so this one is okay. Okay, what I'll say is that this was a really good Nair if you didn't seem to do these all the time.
Yeah, okay.
Like this would be great if you were always mixing up your other options. Like what you can do is you can short hop here and then double jump away, and you can see what he did here. And if he didn't up tilt, then maybe you can plan a Nair for later. So you kind of get lucky on this, and it's fine. But it seems like you do that mix up too often, so you got to be wary of that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, let's see. So this was a perfect example of what you should be doing, where he's like pressuring you, and you're kind of like, look, I'm not down to fight here, buddy. And he's like, oh yeah? Like, come on, fight me. And he's kind of waiting. Look at him walking away cheekily. He's waiting here for you to try to take space and interact. But this is a bad spot for you, and you know it. So therefore, you just full hop up. He doesn't have any way to punish this from the position he's at. And therefore you get this, where now you have him in the corner, you got him to overcommit, and you get this nice drill here. So this was good. This is what you should be doing. And you catch the roll. Really, really, really good job. You catch the roll. You get this. That was good. You won that situation correctly. Okay, this is good. You got him with that same exact thing again. You get reversal. That happens all the time in this matchup. Okay, you got that. One note. These work really, really, really well at mid-level, these full hop back airs, and you will eventually play Falcos that this never ever works for against.
Okay.
So usually when you're in this spot, the best thing to do is play around this location more so than center, because you're mixing up landing on the platform. So what Cody will do is he'll like jump right here, and then he'll fade back and then drill in, or something like that, or fade back. He'll fade back, make it super ambiguous, then land on the platform, and then run off quick back air, or run off drill. So because when you do this, what a good Falco will do here every time, this isn't a losing situation for you, mind you. This is an even situation, but it doesn't lead to anything good. So against a good Falco, they will laser here, and they will dash back and laser again right here, and then walk forward. And if you land with a full hop back air, the laser will hit you, and they will instantly punish you. Which forces you to double jump to the platform and completely resets the neutral situation. So this is fine. This isn't losing for you, but it's not winning. And if you want it to be winning, you need to make create more and more mix-ups from your end. Like, make it so that your opponent has to think of more options that you could potentially be doing, and the more that those happen, the more likely they are to guess wrong and open themselves up to a possibility of attack. So this works, but this shouldn't. This will never hit any good Falco. Just saying.
Gotcha.
So it's just something to keep in mind. It works really well at like mid kind of decent level, but then it just completely stops working once the Falcos know how to deal with it. And yeah, in that situation, this back air, usually when you're in a spot like this, you want to either up air or drill here. The back air won't, even if you hit with this back air and he didn't get this lucky shine, he would have just slid over here and nothing would happen. But if you get the drill or the up air here, good things happen for you. So that's kind of like a move choice thing. Jumping into that laser every time, that's bad news. Okay, let's see. Do you fight? Okay, that was just kind of a botched invincibility. This is okay. This was okay. The reason why this was okay was because he was dash dancing. Mm-hmm. Normally, a Falco won't dash dance here, and he'll just shoot a laser, and then this wouldn't be very good. But because you saw him dash dancing, the Nair was perfectly good. He doesn't really have any good options out of the dash dance. Okay. Right here, personally, I think almost every time in this situation, just go for the shine out of shield. You would have gotten this for free.
Okay.
Falco's down air, literally, so Falco's down air actually loses to shine out of shield unless it is frame perfect.
Right, right.
He has to hit you literally on the very perfect frame or he'll lose to shine out of shield. So yeah, this is like another spot where you're kind of like he's doing this dash dance in the corner. This is bad as Falco. He shouldn't be doing this. He should be lasering. So he's already doing a bad option here. So you end up
like
here.
Waiting for his laser. So
yeah, you're waiting for the laser. But the thing is lasering is what Falco wants. You don't want him to laser. You want Falco to always be scared of lasering. You want Falco to feel like the second he tries to shoot a laser, you're suddenly going to be on top of him and you're going to kill him for it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so you give up the space in the center a lot, and then you go for this, like, okay, this just made no sense. You give up space. You give up space right here. Look at how much space there is, and then you just go for it from here. From here. Mm-hmm. Here I come, Falco. Here I come. Here I come.
I think the idea here is I'm trying to undershoot something and like try to make him swing at me.
But the thing is like that doesn't work against Falco. Against maybe Fox, that works. But against Falco, his best option here is laser in place, which beats this. So what you want to do is you want to be here and threaten him so that his laser seems scary, and then when you're right in this spot, then you nair, because this covers the entire stage.
Gotcha.
Whereas this keeps you not really doing much, and he gets to kind of do this. So then, remember, he's in the corner. You don't have to do anything. What you want to do is kind of pressure him without... And I get that that's what you're trying to do with this, but the reason it wasn't effective is because you weren't close enough. You want to be more like right here. Like I said, right here is perfect because you can full hop, and you're either going to land on the platform or you're not, and it's very difficult for him to tell. Mm-hmm. So look, so what you have established here is you have gotten into a spot where you're like, look, I'm trying to come in on you in the corner, and you're trying to keep me out. That is the neutral game that has been mentally established as a communication between both of you. Mm-hmm. So the answer to that is not to immediately come in. The answer is to bait to see if he still thinks it's going. Like, the game is kind of like look, we're doing this thing. And they're like, are you sure? And like, yes, we're doing this. And they go, okay. And you go, we're not doing that. Mm-hmm. So it's like you've gotten him in the mentality where he's walling you out in the corner. So the one thing you don't want to do is then play into the wall, which you forced him to erect. Mm-hmm. So it's like you got him to put up a wall. So what you want to do, once again, is pretend you're going to come in and see if he whiffs. If you pretend to come in, and, like, let's say he just stands here confidently and doesn't throw something out, then you know he didn't respect the fact that you could have come in, and then maybe next time in that spot you decide to go in. Mm-hmm. But in this situation, it's pretty clear his last 3 or 4 moves are him walling. So he does this dash back. Let's see, what does he do? So he's just doing this dash dance. He's clearly waiting for you to come in, right? He's not trying to press out of the corner. Then he sees that you kind of come in, but you overshoot it. He tries to defend himself with a wall of back air. Then it's like, what are you expecting from this spot? Like, as the Falco, I'm 100% expecting Fox to come in here. And that's why you have to never go in there. And so you go in, like I said, you force him to build a wall, and then you run right into the wall. And that's kind of like the incongruency. Is you want to force him to build a wall, and then say, oh, that's a nice wall. Well, I'm just going to stand here and wait for you to try to keep me out, and then I'll hit you.
Gotcha.
Okay, let's see what happens here. This is something minor, but if you ever come back... Sorry, if your opponent comes back invincibly, your goal... So their goal when they come back invincibly is to always end in a good position after invincibility. That should be your goal too. But when your opponent comes back, you should also be fighting for a good position. What you want is that you want them to try to read you during invincibility and end in a position where you have a good position, in center stage or on the platform. So the fact that his invincibility has ended and you give him this position is so good for Falco.
I see. Okay.
You don't want to give him that. You want to be fighting so that you end in a good spot. So then you're in a bad spot and you fight out of it, and it works out except for this attempted Thunders combo because he's crouching. So it's like basically you put yourself in a bad spot, you fought out of the bad spot, you won, and then you lost because of this small interaction. So it's kind of like a three-parter where it's kind of like the small interaction I don't think mattered too much. It was more about the fact that you put yourself into a bad spot and then fought out of it immediately. I think that was the bad thing.
I see.
And then he gets you with this. Okay, DI is okay, but obviously most of the time against Falco combos, don't DI off stage because it just it gives him these nice edgeguard mix-ups. It's much more frustrating when the Fox just kind of won't go off stage. So you do this, and then you just like give up all thought and like go for this. This is awful. Don't ever do this.
Gotcha.
This only works if you're here. This works if you're here because Falco is going to try to run off double jump down air. And then you can double jump to right here and do this down air. When you're down airing from this height, Falco's whole goal is to prevent you from grabbing ledge. And if you double jump up like this, he goes, great, you can only come down right here, and I'm going to stick out a bear that'll cover ledge and you coming in. And then you came in with an aerial, and then you're just in an awful spot where you're just guaranteed dead.
Gotcha, that makes sense. Cool. Do we have time to go over the Marth games or no?
Yeah, we can go over it really quick.
Yeah, I think this is similar where it's like when the Marth does things that I'm prepared to do, like it's super straightforward for me, but when they don't give me, if they don't throw themselves at me with like a really telegraphed down air or down tilt or, you know,
something important to know as Fox in general is you have the speed. Therefore, you decide the position. Therefore, your opponent needs to be worrying about how to deal with you. As Fox, you are not the person. The only exceptions are Fox Dittos and Falcon, because he's so fast. Other than that, every matchup, your opponent needs to be figuring, how do I deal with this Fox? You don't want them to be thinking, I'm going to do my thing and Fox will deal with me. No, no, no. Always, you want them to be dealing with you. Okay, yeah, that drill
first stock is really bad.
Huh?
The first stock of this is really bad, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like, the goal against Marth is, to just explain it really quickly because we're almost out of time, is basically you want to get close to Marth and then throw stuff out. This is not close to Marth. This is the mistake that everybody makes. Oh, I guess this was kind of close to Marth. But you want to be even closer. Like, basically, you want to get into the spacing such that if you throw out this aerial, he can't get away from it by going backwards. But what you're doing is you're doing this aerial, which only hits if he goes forward. And if he doesn't go forward, he punishes you.
Okay.
So your goal against Marth is to use your neutral game to close the space and then beat him up. Don't close the space while attacking. That is the wrong thing. This is what you've been doing. You close the space with an attack. Close the space, then attack. Nice. Okay, nothing's really happening. Okay, you close the space and then you attack. That's fine. Okay, let's see. Yep, look at you attacking from way out here. Don't do that. There's no reason. Then you close the space, you attack. Okay, that's good. Okay, you're in his face. You're in his face fighting him. That's what you want. That one was a little greedy.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask about this one specifically, because that interaction, I do like the run in shine grab in the corner, which I know is really good on triplats, but
so the reason why this wasn't good, normally this is good, but look at how far away you telegraphed it from. You're here.
Yeah.
You're here. You're basically telling Marth, here I come with the shine, and it's kind of like Marth is like, okay, I got you, and then you run. It's like that Monty Python scene where you're like running, and then he's like, here he comes, you know, and then you get there, but he's ready for you. That's the difference. So the running shine there is great, but he can't know you're about to running shine him.
Gotcha.
And yeah, a big issue a lot of people have against Marth is just be okay getting close to Marth. It'll hurt, you'll get hit a lot, but you'll get hit even more when you're trying to play safe. Remember, these never do these aerials. Just don't. Just don't do these at all. It's like if you're close to him and you throw out this aerial, it's fine. Like, don't do this. Don't do that. Get close to him, then fight. This is kind of like you said, like it's the same thing where you're fighting in positions that aren't the positions you want to be fighting in.
Right.
Yeah, look at this. Look at this. You're throwing out moves from too far. At the range that this is at, this is the range that Marth can easily protect himself by just dashing back. You're basically punishing if Marth rushes you. That's like kind of what you're doing, and that's not the right answer. What you want to do is get close to Marth, then punish him for just doing it, literally anything. Yep, look at that. Same range. Look, all you had to do in this spot, this nair was fine, is get here before you throw out the aerial. Mm-hmm. But you throw it out there. Look at this range. You think Marth is scared of this? No. Look at it. Easy. But if you had been closer when you throw it out, he's in a lot more danger. It's a lot easier to hit him.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's an easy one. The Falco one was a little more complicated, but this one is super easy. Just literally don't attack until you're close enough to hit his dash back. If you can't hit his dash back, don't attack. That's it. And obviously there's more to the matchup, but that is like a glaring issue. Okay, almost every single neutral game interaction you've had so far, you have attacked Marth from too far away. And this is a really common issue. I used to do it too. Mm-hmm. You should still make it back. Okay, you did. Okay, great wave shine. That's so good. Those are really good. Yep. Same thing. You're attacking here, Marth's over here. So you just attack in front of Marth until he eventually hits you. Yeah. So that's pretty simple. Okay, that was good. It was easy to go over the Marth game quickly. But all right, do you have any ending thoughts, ending questions, anything else?
Yeah, so I guess we'll just go over the notes that I took for this. I guess big thing is declaring a mix-up and then doing something else, something I super don't do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, declaring and then avoiding it, and also just mixing in more options in general. Yeah. Doing more full hop drill against Falco, more slide off platform drill, type of trying to trick him into that, and then don't like say you're gonna approach, force him to wall you out, and then approach anyway.
Mm-hmm. The ambiguous full hops, I think that's a big one.
Right, don't full hop back air into lasers.
Right.
Those don't work. He can beat it by dash back lasering. Don't fight in bad positions.
Right.
Use your neutral mix-ups to achieve good positions, not to go for hits. You can do that sometimes, but generally use your neutral game to get to fish for positioning rather than fishing for an easy hit.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah. And then just for Marth, get a lot closer.
Get way closer before you hit him. If you like basically see Marth every time you're about to hit Marth, see him dashing back. And then if you aren't gonna hit him out of his dash back by doing your move, don't do it. And the thing is, it's very tempting when you do this to kind of run way too far at Marth, but you can't just like run all the way at him. You have to dash dance and kind of get your way in. Like the neutral game is getting in that close, and once you're in that close, just let it rip, and he can't really deal with it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Also, make other people deal with your options. Don't try to counter other people's options. Countering other people's options is more of like a secondary thing that happens. Like you want to make your stuff happen, and then also prevent his stuff from happening. Because if your stuff is good enough, he has to, like. It's kind of like whoever has the stronger like willpower of he's like, I'm gonna do this and you have to react to me, and you're like, well, that's great and all, but I'm about to do this and you better react to it, you know. And then he has to go, oh, okay, fine, you know. That's like what you want.
Perfect. That was awesome.
Okay, yeah, I think that was a very productive lesson. It was a bit difficult to analyze at first, but we warmed up into it, and I think left with some really good lessons. So. It was nice talking. I hope you have a good one, and have a good day.
Yep, DM me for like payment and stuff, and we'll figure it out.
I'll DM you right now. All right. Later.